Okay. And I will go ahead and pull up your website if that's okay.
Yep,
See if can
I
find
got
it.
out of it.
Okay. And let me do a screen share. So give me a second. Share screen. And then just looking at it. So I don't know why it doesn't show up right here. Let me go to here. Oh, yeah, it opened. It just didn't show up at the top here. So, and then we hit share. Okay. Are you seeing the screen okay?
Yes,
Okay. So where would you like to start? I know I sent the email to you back yesterday and you replied back, but where would you like to start?
let's start at the header because I totally agree with everything you said. I just
Okay.
didn't know how to do it.
Okay. And so again, and some of this we went over before, some of it I may have only touched on and gone very quickly. Some of it may be totally brand new, but one of the things I'll always say is that there's usually more than one way to do anything. So when we want to edit the header, I've shown you pretty much one way, and that's by going up here to the templates, and then finding the header that you wanted to edit and make some changes on. What we did one time, maybe two times, but again, it would have been very quick, that we did this, is that when you go here and then go to the dashboard, and then what we're gonna do is wait a second for it to load. Let's see where we're at. Here we come. And then if you scroll down here to your Beaver Builder and then theme or layout, and you can see the templates are here, that would end up showing them also. But what we did is we created a theme or layouts, and make a long story short is Themer is different software that I use and I install into the website, so that you and others can quickly and easily edit the header and the footer, whereas before, like just even a few years back, it was a nightmare dealing with headers and footers on different pages because you wanted them to stay the same, but the pages were supposed to be changing, and then, the coding, that type of stuff. But years ago, it became easier, and this, as I'll show you, is quick and easy. So what we've got is we went to the theme or layouts, and you could add a new one. So let's say you wanted to create a header that was only for the contact page, and you wanted that header to look different, you could add new and then go from there. And same thing with the footer. You might want to have the footer be different on certain pages. But for now, we're keeping a relatively consistent look. And I can
Yep.
see here that we've got three different things that are active. We have the footer for Kelly that we must have created last time we met, 2 times ago, whenever it was. And then it looks like we have two different headers going on. And so it looks like we have it on the services page. And this was something you had asked me about, if I remember correctly. Is that
Yes,
right?
and I didn't know how to get it. Yeah,
How to remove it, was that correct?
yeah,
Okay, so you can see here is that I set this header to show you and Paul the different headers, that
right.
this particular header would only appear on the services page. And then,
Okay.
it does not, there's no headers that show up on the coming soon page, because we didn't want people going to that, you wanted to stay hidden. So it did not show up on that page. So it's set as published right now. So to just answer your question quickly and easily, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna unpublish it. And that's the header that appears only on the services page. And then I
Okay.
probably need to hit save. I don't know if it saved it automatically. Let me move this. It probably saved it automatically. And so let's just go ahead and go to the services page. So I go builder and then scroll down to services. Pull this up. And is this correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we know that that worked. You didn't have to hit save. That's done and over. Now, what you also asked in your email was how to make some other changes in this particular header. And now, if I go back, I'm gonna hit done just to get out of this. And then I'm gonna go back to the themer layout under the dashboard to get to the themer layouts. So I go
Okay.
back here, and I can see now I just have one footer and one header available and published, and that's what we're gonna run with at this time. But we did
Okay.
want to make some changes to that. Now, there's edit and quick edit, and then you can open it to edit. Some of these show a slightly different function that Kelly probably will not be dealing with. But let me do a quick edit and see what that shows up. So this would allow me to change the slug, and we don't need to get into that. If you're curious, 9 months from now, I'll explain that to you, but my guess is you'll never have to worry about that. So.
Okay,
And so I could go here to edit and wait for it to open. And then this is where I can change, like, do I want it sticky? Do I want it to shrink? Or do I want an overlay? And as I told you, and you agreed with me, that this particular header takes up about 25% of my screen. You may have a slightly different screen size, but for me, it's kind of tall. It's kind of high.
okay, yep.
I don't know, do you agree, or I don't know what size screen you're using?
It's just hard. That's what one of my question was. I have a smaller screen and then I have a larger screen.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to check.
Yeah, and then there's ways,
Different.
and I don't think you need to shoot for perfection because they're gonna change the resolution of people's monitors and size. So you want it to look good on just about most of the screen sizes, but if somebody turns their phone sideways versus horizontal or vertical, it's gonna look a little bit different. So.
Okay,
And you
so
can
we-
perfect each one of those, but you also could spend your time doing better things, so.
Okay, so
So
we
with
need
that being
to
said, I'm sorry?
shrink that then. We need to
What?
shrink that then.
Oh, well, I'm gonna
Is that
go
right?
ahead, what I'm gonna do is hit shrink, and I remember we were having a problem where we're shrinking the logo too much, but you've made some
Right.
changes on the logo. So I'm gonna hit yes, and then I'm gonna hit update, and then what I'm gonna end up doing is, so, I'm gonna duplicate the page, duplicate the tab. I hit update already on this, if I remember correctly. If not, I need to hit update. But I'm gonna try not to leave this area just yet. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the page to see what it looks like. So we were working on, just any page. So let's just go to the services page where we were before anyway. And see if it shrinks and what it looks like when it does or if it does. And, well, again, we have an issue with this shrinking quite a bit. And so this is my guess, but and I can play with this a little bit later when we're not on a call necessarily, but I believe what's happening, and let's just go to the template and look at the header that's what we're looking at. I could have gone the other way, but I'm going this way right now. So I believe what's happening is that this header is
I think
taking
you want to
up.
go to the other header.
I'm sorry?
You want to go to the other header,
I think we only have the one. I think that
the one that says Kelly.
okay, give me a second. My fault. Let me go.
You're good.
Let's go back to the builder. Templates, Footer Kelly, and then I think we just have the header. Is that
No,
right?
header, white background. There you go.
Mistake. Too close together. And this is showing up green, and I misinterpreted that. Green just means that we have to be build on. Thanks for
You're good.
catching that, Kelly.
Yeah,
So here we are here. So I believe what's happening is that this particular size of this is equal to this column here. So I'm gonna try to play with this a little bit later on and see if I can tweak that some. But
that would be great.
I think we're in agreement that we want to change that. Now, to get into, I can show you, one or two things how we can change some of this is if I go to the row settings, I think I mentioned it before, there's something that's called padding and border. And so let me just go to advanced. And so margins and padding, I'm sorry, did I say border? I didn't mean border. A border is visible. And so sometimes you have a border on a page, but that'll be visible. This is a margin and padding, and this decides on the amount of space that's around the different modules or widgets. So again, I'll play around with this a little bit to see if I can make this shrink where it looks a little bit better and fits a little bit better.
Okay. That'd be great. I couldn't figure it out.
Yep.
We
And
also
then
want to look at,
the
you
font.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's okay. The font was the other issue.
Yep,
And so if so this, I can't, me personally, I can't do anything with this because you or your graphic designer built this into an image that's this logo. And
Right.
so this is, again, it's personal taste. If you love it, I love it, but we talked about before is that this particular person dropped in a black shadow effect on this blue. And this
Yeah.
blue, and so it gives it a different look, but it's also a different font than what this C, and you can see this C, the letter C is different than this letter C. And
Yeah.
so you've got it built right in there, and then when you flip over here, you've got the other one. So, it would save us some time if the person just told you what these were instead of us, like if I click here and then I go to style and I go to font.
That's what I tried to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna go bonkers. I mean, it'll take, you'll go nuts trying to figure that out. So
Okay,
this
I can
person,
ask them.
yeah. And then I think you and Paul need to ask yourself, do you like the black? Is there an advantage? Is this the right blue? It's a shadow is what it is. It's called a shadow. And
Okay,
so if you like it, that's great. Then,
yeah,
it just creates a different element for the coloring and for how these would look with other fonts. Now,
okay.
so
He did like the
that's what,
shadow.
pardon?
He did like the shadow, but I
That's
can ask
fine.
him
And
again.
so that's
Okay,
all okay. And we can build shadows and all these if you want it, or just leave it with that one. The question then comes in is what font is this? Do you need or want two different fonts in the logo? And then the question then comes in, you really only want like 2 or 3 fonts throughout the whole website, and you've got 4 of them here. So
I
you
have
or
a ton of
Paul,
them.
you or Paul are gonna have to make some decisions. And actually, when I see this, I can see what's coming. I don't know if you just saw what I did. So
I did
I
not.
came over and I just started looking and I can see here, you see the size of this widget?
Yes,
And so I did not notice that earlier because we were looking slightly different or whatever the case may be, but I can see that what accidentally happened is you or I or somebody hit enter. And
I'm
so,
sure I did.
pardon me?
I'm sure I did.
And so what I see here is that we've added a whole space right here. So what
Okay,
I just hit now watch the line, I hit delete. And now I believe I may have partially shrunk down some of that space because I
okay,
believe that the widget would have tried to build in some additional space, but maybe not. We'll take a look at it. But getting back to the point about the fonts, you and Paul can decide which font do you want? Do you want 2 different fonts in the same logo? And then whichever font you want, then we should use one of those 2 fonts here and here. And
okay. I have a question.
pardon me?
Do the logos usually have, I was told they usually have 2 fonts in the logos. Is it, just depends on,
The quick research I did, yesterday, I could find that it was saying normally you want, maybe 2 or 3 fonts throughout the website. I did not look to see just out of Google, how many fonts. Just to see what comes up here. So a great row with 3 different fonts with font ways. This is the other font. Okay, so 3 different fonts. So, I'm okay with that when I had asked as far as throughout the website. So,
yeah. No, I agree with you on the website. I think that, the font, we can have 2, they like that, or, they've had that logo for a very long time. So
okay, and
it
again,
has,
it's not, whatever people want,
yeah,
that's okay with me. It's just something to factor in with what you're doing here. So
Yeah.
can a little bit of different fonts, absolutely. So my mistake on that,
oh, and you're fine, yeah. I was just trying to figure out, and then, once we find the logo or what the logo fonts are, then we can, make it kind of, now,
decide
do
if
we
you
have
want to.
what? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you can decide if you want to match it or not. And, looking over this here, this has the serifs. And this has a little bit of a serif also built into it. This has serifs, but you can see it's very different looking. And this
Well,
is,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
not. Actually.
okay.
And
Real
then
quick
so,
question,
you can play with this. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'll just show you real quickly.
you're
If
fine.
you go to the wrench, you can almost always play with the topography, the fonts and that type of stuff. So if I go to menu settings, I go over here and then style, let me double check, please, set those drop downs. there should be a way for us to get to the fonts, to change the font style, so. I'm in the menu, let me see here, menu settings.
I also wanted to change the color to match Captain's.
And so you'd want to, yeah, and I can find the color right here, but I don't know if you can see, there's an eyedropper tool that you can use. And you
Okay,
can and then you can grab the color, by hovering over that, so let me get. Here.
could you put that in the saved color thing? That would help.
Okay, I
It's
will
kind of
do
hit the
that,
guess.
okay, and I'll play with that a little bit later, I think, because I'm in this other thing,
Yep,
I'm in this area, so I have to log out of that, but I want to see, okay, the fonts and then change the fonts here. So, again, you just need to find out, double check which one of those fonts, and then you can change, the menu font or this other, text editor font, whichever one you want.
okay. Now,
Does
do
that
you
make
recommend, is there a font that you recommend? Like, let's say we have Captain's Cabinetry have the one font. Is there one that you recommend throughout?
Kelly, because I did not pay that much attention, and now that you've got two different fonts within here, I think just trying to match either one of these relatively close. That way throughout the website, what I was looking at, basically, I did the quick research on was, normally 2 or 3 fonts throughout the website. And then I see, according to, again, you corrected me and I appreciate that, is the verse on the logo to make things stand out. That makes sense, that
Okay.
you want it to stand out. If you have too many throughout the site, you can see it gets a little busy, a little confusing. So I think with you and Paul, if you guys want to decide one of these, and then, maybe see how it looks, try to mimic it. I think either one looks okay.
Well, I definitely don't think we want the font and either of the fonts that are in the logo throughout, with all the serifs and all of that, that would be too much to look at, I think.
It's totally your call then, Kelly, and you guys can decide, and as you go to once you decide which one you want, go ahead and set it, but I don't think, there's not necessarily a rule of thumb. I think what I
Okay.
believe is that, font that has serifs, I believe, and I'd have to double check this, is easier to read.
Now the serifs are the little lines, right?
Exactly, correct. So this is, the sans serif without it. And,
Okay. So the sans serif is easier to read, right?
I'm double checking that. I just want to see
Okay.
what else is showing up. So serifs have an important role in readability of type, scroll, may help the reader read faster and avoid probably eye strain or something. You don't have a huge amount of text, so I don't think this is gonna matter. I think if you were having pages of text where people are reading online to get a lot of information, you have
Okay.
mostly a few paragraphs with much more white space.
Okay.
So ability on smaller scale and a smaller scale. So I would say probably go ahead and check out some serifs, see if you and Paul, like a particular font that has the serifs, and probably I would, see how that looks. So
Okay.
probably, that's great attention to detail, and so however you decide, I think you'd be okay with. You don't have a huge amount of text, so most people won't read your website, they skim it, they look for your
Right.
contact information, they look at the pictures. It'll be very difficult to get family members to read your whole website, because no one does.
Okay. Now the kitchen and bath specialist and that is probably too big compared to the Captain's Cabinetry.
That would be an issue, also causing some of the issue with the size. So when you say that, the answer is yes. This is also a text editor box, and we would probably want to end up changing this to a widget that's a header. So I would go, maybe this would be some of the stuff I'd be playing with. I'll go ahead and do this here. And I'm dropping in the header widget right here. And then it's over here for general because I'm editing it. And so I'm gonna go
Now see, that already looks better.
So this is an H2 tag. And I would probably go ahead and make this an H1, so it's the largest. And then I would style it to be centered. So I go to my font and center it. And then
Yeah.
I would leave that there. And then I would done.
Yeah, that already looks better, Mark.
Yeah, well, this is something I want to play with, but it's good for us to go do it together. So now I'm dropping in a different header here. And actually, I'm gonna make this one the heading 2, so the font, and then
Yeah, by all means. I mean, you know that stuff. I'm just learning, so
well, and we learned together, so, and I can
yeah,
see, so now I've got this set as an H2 tag, so it should appear a little smaller, a little less prominent. And this gets into some of the SEO stuff, Kelly, that we've touched on. You know, if you
yeah,
look back through the videos, we have spoken briefly about it, is when you have the different tags on every page, you normally want one, I would say, module or one heading that's an H1 tag. That's good for
okay.
organization. And then maybe one for an H2 tag. And then from there, the paragraphs, those type of things don't really, they matter less because it kind of breaks up the page. So let me see what's happening here. So
There it goes.
good for, center. And I can see the space I'll talk right here. So I'm gonna knock this out because we don't need that
Yeah.
anymore. And so the spacing's no good. It's taking up too much space. And this gets into, some of the heading settings I mentioned to you as far as the padding and the margin. So I can see here, if exactly where my thing is, I can see the margin, and that's what is on top. This is the margin that's on the right side. This is the margin that's on the bottom, as you can tell. So for this particular heading, the widget, I'm gonna knock out some of the bottom. So let's just so that I can keep some strategies made it 11. So I just took out some of the space here. And then on this particular module or widget, I'm gonna go ahead and here. Okay, I thought I was changing it on this one, but I wasn't looking and I changed on this one then. And so I basically made not a big mistake, but I wanted to change the padding on the margin on the top. On this one, I want to change the margin on the bottom on this one. Are you following me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I made a mistake. It doesn't hurt because I'm gonna leave it. But what I did is I meant to do the top and here it said I did the bottom. But since I'm on this one, I'm gonna go in here. You can see what I did is I did 11 on the bottom for my margin. Well, I really want to make, let's say, I could do 10 or 11, but just for my own sake right now, I'm doing 11. So you can see I just took a little bit of the margin off that. Did you see it?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same. I don't want to do the total same thing because I don't want the top off on this one. I want the bottom off. So when I click on the wrench, I go here for the margin. I want to knock some of the bottom off. And now these got a little bit closer. And I don't want to necessarily knock the top off because that doesn't really help me for what I'm trying to do here. Now, what
Now, when
would
you had
help,
it before, the K and the C, so the C in captains and the K in kitchen were actually lined up. And then when you did that, it brought the K down.
well, okay, so what it would have done was brought, so are you saying with this column, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, before you did all the margins and the padding or whatever it's called,
Yes.
the K was the same height in the very top
Sure,
as
could
the
have
C.
been. Yeah, I'm sure could have been. And so we can play with that, right now,
Okay.
we're trying to figure out what looks best, but one of the things I can see here, because again, the way that this is lined up is this is set to be at the top of the column, because again, you can see that well, let's just do this. Rows, and then I'm gonna add 2 columns. Now I can see there's 2 columns. Do you see the 2 columns?
Yeah.
Okay, and just for our simplicity's sake, just again, so that repetition's a key to learning, is I'm dropping in this 2 columns. Well, I can see when I take this logo, it's an image, doesn't matter that it's a logo, it's an image, the photo setting. And so I'm gonna drag it into this column. Well,
Okay,
what it does, it lines it up to be at the, I'm just shrinking the size in there.
yep.
So, and then I'm gonna get rid of this column, okay,
Mhm.
okay, so I'm gonna knock this out. Now, you can see that this is lined up at the top. What I would do then, let me move this over here. Here. And then right now, this menu is going the full length of the row. You can see that, right?
Yep,
And so I'm gonna knock off some of the margin here also. I go to the wrench. And I obviously clicked the wrong thing because I go here and then do the wrench. I've got 11 and 5, so I must have played with this earlier. Because it's normally 20, 20, 20. And so before either you and I did this or I did this when I was playing around, is I took off some of the margin here. As you can see on the bottom, it's only has 5. And then you can see on the
right.
top, I left 11. So I did this prior to whenever we were, together. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead for the heck of it. I'm gonna hit done. I wanna see how this shrinks down just to see what ends up happening. So, and this is my guess, and I'll have to try to figure out how to do this, is as we just saw, this menu is going the full row, the full width of
Right.
this header, this row. And so what's happening is that, and it needs its own space for the whole thing, left here, there's nothing here, but that still belongs to that one,
Um, a
one,
row.
one widget. And I think I just figured out what I was explaining to you. I think what I need to do, I'll do this later. I think I need to drop in a spacer here. And that may
Okay,
cut down the massive shrinking, but let's move to different topics because the header gets a little bit picky and it takes a little bit
so,
more to fine
okay,
tune because it's smaller space and if you're going shrinking versus not shrinking. If we weren't doing that, we already had it solved. But we need to play with this some, and I'll do that when we're not together, if that's okay with you.
yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, and then you and Paul will decide which font style you want, and then you can go ahead and change that at any time and at any
Okay.
date that you want to change it back and forth, whatever you want to do.
Now, is there a way to make it so that the remodel, refresh, and reimagine is up a little bit? I know you were just working on it. Are you just gonna
Yes.
fool around with it and see?
Yes, exactly. That is what I will do. And I may play around with it where, and this again, I'm not where the time now, is I may drop in a text like we had before. You had a two text box or one text box. I may go back to a text box and then just highlight these and assign them to be, well, let's just go ahead and do it. Because this is well, it's fine. So, let me do templates, go to Kelly had it, no, Kelly had it, right? White had it.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm not sure how this will look. This is where, you gotta kind of,
And if you want to, you can just fool around with it and I'll talk to Paul about the fonts and, but it's good for me to learn
yep,
as well.
yep. And so I'll do that here. So this I dropped in a text box and I really wanted to get this text box into this column. You can see that there's a column, right? Are you following me on that?
There's,
It's a column,
yep, oh, yes. Yes, I remember.
and then
Yep,
this is the column here.
yep,
And again, if you needed to verify, I could click drop row, drop in 2 columns, and you'd see the same thing.
okay.
So, the reason why I mentioned it to you is I have right here is a text editor box. I'm gonna delete it just because I know I just got a slightly distracted and delete that. Okay. So for starting over, just a clean slate, so I don't confuse you at all. Row, and then we drop in, 2 columns
Yep.
and so I got that here, and move that over here roughly. I'm gonna knock this up to here. And then what I want to do is I want to drop in a module that's a text editor. And so I'm knocking that in here. And then I go back to general, because we're still sticking on the advanced. And, 15. And so if I highlight this and then I go here, this gets it into like HTML tagging. And again, it's not normally something I would be teaching a client. You're learning a
Right.
lot more than what most people will be learning. But again, you're obviously you're very sharp. I can tell you're probably retaining a good majority of this, or at least some of it's making some sense. So here I'm
Yes,
gonna go ahead and assign it to heading 1. And then I'm highlighting here, I'm gonna assign an HTML tag of a heading 2. And then I'm
perfect.
gonna center both of these here.
Well, yeah, right there, can you put the about, home and about in Cambria, just right underneath that?
Yeah,
No?
that's so what I need to do is, no, well, yes
Okay,
and no, because the menu is a different widget.
okay,
And so right now we are in a text editor widget. So when
okay,
you say home about Cambria, what I'm going to do, I'll show you how it looks. I can move because again, this is either, it needs its own space. And it can go in a
gotcha.
column, or it can go the full row. And so again, you and Paul can decide. Let me finish this first aspect. So I go here.
Yep.
I'm gonna make sure that there's no additional space here. I'm gonna hit save. And so this widget, looks like it still has too much space in it. So I'm gonna go back here. Now I knocked off a line of space. Did you notice what happened? Same thing as
I-
before, I hit the return or the whatever. the case may
Okay,
be. So I'm gonna get rid of this now, because again, we don't need this, right?
right,
I'm
yep,
gonna get rid of this one. And now, obviously, we don't need this extra 2 columns that were built in now. What you were asking, I believe, can I just put this underneath here? This is a column. And
okay,
this is this is a column. And it needs its
okay,
own space. Now I can move this into do you see what I'm doing?
yeah,
Drop it into here. Now, you and Paul can decide you like that. I'm gonna get rid of this. Now the menu does not go the full width. Now, what I would say you would think about doing, again, this gets into a little more advanced stuff, is when I go here to do column settings. Now, Kelly, how often will Kelly be doing column settings? I'm not sure, you know.
yeah,
I think, I think what we may want to think about, again, I don't know what Paul pays you, but with the amount of stuff you're learning, I could pay you something to edit some client sites and, give it to you and let you clean stuff up. So you can give thought, because you're learning much more than what most people learn. So, but
okay,
let me show you here. So the column settings, and I go here now, if you look over here on the left side, is I can
yep,
see the width is taking up 26% of it. I'm just gonna set it for 25. I just makes a little bit more sense. And I dragged and dropped, I moved this way, but you can set it specifically here. And then what I would do is I would equalize the height. And so right now, this column is not equal heights with this column.
right,
Does that make sense? And
yep,
so, for me, my eye, I usually almost always say yes. And then it's gonna ask me, do I want to vertically align them? Or do I want to middle or center or bottom align them? I usually use center align, and let me just show you. We can see what's happened here. And so,
gotcha.
because it was bothering Kelly's eye, that these were not lining up at the top. But then the problem with that is then you're dealing with margins and padding, and you're
No,
maybe adding too much space or whatever the case may be. You also were having too much space on the bottom, because
yep,
let's go back. Top, you can see that's a lot of space down here.
yeah,
So if I go center, now it's lining up here. And
much
then
better.
I probably would do here and then look at it again. What do we have for margins and padding to clean this up a little bit? Um, Always great when things are exactly where you think they are and they're not, but I'm almost there, so let me double
I
check.
know exactly what you're
Well,
talking about. I
okay.
know what you're looking for.
I was looking for some numbers, for the row
Right.
settings here, so that's, and I think they're probably underneath here, row actions. That's right. There's some, advanced, maybe. There we go. So
Yeah.
that's very embarrassing, Kelly.
No, I wouldn't have found
Like I
that.
said, you normally don't have, I normally don't have to go into this much details, and normally, like, when I'm looking, like, yes, I play with the column settings sometimes because I want things to line up differently, that type of stuff, but I've probably never shown somebody how to do column settings, because they normally don't, but, so here we get back to our margins and padding. I have no idea why I got here now. Do you remember why we got here?
Because you were trying to see if you could kind
Oh,
of smush
change
it
some of
so
this
it's
here,
not so
yeah,
big.
yeah. So thank you. So I can see here, I've got padding of 15 on the top. I'll knock that down again just for our sake. You can see how it just moved, everything moved up a little bit. There's less,
Yep.
net padding around here. And then the bottom, the reason why you want to leave some, is because what happens when you start to look at it on a different devices, that it can get really crunched if you don't have some type of padding or margin built into it. And
Okay.
so you want to be careful of that. Usually you don't want to go both at zero because they can crunch up.
I think it looks great.
Well, at least it's better than, maybe better than what it was, but we'll leave it for now for you and Paul to look at.
Yep. That sounds good.
And I'm gonna check the shrinkage there. It still shrinks down, so I'll need to figure that out. And
And
maybe
if we,
again, as I mentioned, and let me just, since
yeah,
we've wasted so much time on this already, I'm gonna waste a little bit more here. So let me go back to the header footer. I'm gonna drop in a spacer and just see if that helps cut down the amount of shrinkage that goes on here. So,
okay.
I'm going here, and then I'm gonna drop in a sprayer, which can be visible or invisible. Now, I'm gonna make it transparent, so I can see I don't need it to be gray. So I'm gonna knock the transparency down to, well, I'm gonna leave it for right now, so you see it, and then we're gonna knock it out. The
Okay.
width, 100%, that's irrelevant. What I want to do is the height. Let's just go 44. So now you can see what I've done is I put a spacer in. You see
Right.
that?
Yeah.
And so, I'm gonna make it transparent because I don't need to see it. So now it's invisible. I'm gonna hit done. And I doubt this will work, but hey, this is how sometimes you figure stuff out, so. And so that's obviously too much space. I don't like that at all because it's boosted it up so much. But it still strings
It
down.
is.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to work on that, Kelly. I don't have an answer for you right now. I am gonna remove that spacer, so.
You're fine. And if we can't shrink it, that's no problem. It really isn't. It's
Okay,
all good.
so let me get rid of this so that it's at least halfway cleaner than what it was before. It's done. And then public. So, let's go on to another question you have.
Okay. Let's see. Headers, okay, font we talked about. For the, I'm on header, sorry. For the footer,
So let me, again, please, I don't want Paul being an insulter or anything like that.
not a
This-
bit.
This is, for me, this looks a little bit just like you're jamming stuff in there. I don't, the
Okay.
two of them would have been okay. Three, I'm not sure the flag, I understand patriotism, I'm all for it. Absolutely, but, whether it needs to be somewhere else or could be somewhere else, maybe. It just,
Okay.
the flag doesn't necessarily fit with everything you have going here, but you could incorporate a flag a bunch of different places.
Okay, I appreciate that because I didn't think it looked very good there either.
But I also, again, if you don't, I'm gonna say opinion and, doesn't
I
matter.
appreciate it.
Okay, so what I see here is that this blue background, I would be, because you've got this gold, you've got white, it looks like you have maybe that same gold. Then you have some black font, then you have this strange blue, yellow, lime, I don't know what that is. And then you've got the red, white, and blue, so I would be thinking, based on some of this is built into these two logos, you can't do anything about it. You just
Right.
want to display it. So I would probably then flip what I was doing. personally, I would make the footer white. I would make all this font black. And then I would go ahead and drop in those two logos. And then you can decide, if there's a, different place, for placement of the flag. So,
Okay.
and I'll show you real quick here, and then again, you'll be able to play this back and change it however you want, but. Because the blue,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna mention to you, this blue doesn't match. This is one of the things about this header, or the logo. You wanna get that blue, and so if you're gonna do the blue here, if you were gonna match it, you want this to match, and it doesn't necessarily match.
Oh,
But
it doesn't totally.
I would
Yeah.
go to the row settings, and then I would knock this out to be, the background to be gone. And now it's white, and then I would go to my, I may have to do this one by one based on what we've done. Let me think, it set all the font to be text colored black.
So 0000 is black.
Yes,
And
and
then
then
what is white?
FFFFF is white. And Kelly, I probably
Oh.
learned that more than 20 years ago. And I thought that's probably useless knowledge, but later I realized that it does save you some time sometimes, so. But what I can see, even though I made the text color black, we've already added these widgets, and these widgets were already you or me, I probably did it. They set the font to be white. So now and as you remember, an order of commands or order is that we set it for white, so we need to go back and change that. So let's see what I can do. There we go. So you gotta go through each one.
Yep.
And because the order of the commands, I had to hit save to make the stuff change and show up. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yep. Then that shows up much better.
Yeah, I'm just gonna remove this for now.
That sounds good.
And then, so, this isn't so great. This is kind of a little bit different size. I think, I mean, it's up to you how you want to do that. You could make this a little bit
No,
larger.
Mark, you are like the expert, so
Well,
anything
I
that
don't
you
know about
see.
that, Kelly. I appreciate that, but let me just double check the size of here.
I do know that because I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I appreciate an opinion. I obviously
yeah.
don't know all this.
Thanks. Well, and some of it's just a matter, yeah, it's an opinion, so then it's not right or wrong, but sometimes it's just whatever. So, we can play with this a little bit to make these a little bit larger, so it looks a little bit better.
Gotcha. Yep, that does.
To remind you of the column setting, this is what, again, I normally don't show people, but if you go to column settings, and we have 4 of them, we probably want to make them all 25%. And then let's say, and what I wanted to do was, again, the lining up. And so equalize height. You probably do want these lined up at the top. The reason
Yes.
being is that, this looks like kind of about us, and this is headings or whatever. So equalize height, yes, and then vertical line on top. And then I'm going to hit save. So, what you could think about doing here too, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it for you. I'm gonna go rows. I'm gonna drop in 5 rows just to see how this looks, and then you and Paul can decide on these. So this automatically got try. It's a new row. It's got 5
Yep.
columns, and
Yep.
it automatically defaults to fixed width. You'll remember this from months ago.
Yep.
So I'm gonna
Yep.
go ahead and knock this out to full width and make the content full width. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate. You can see I hit the duplicate button.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna knock this up, put this up here. And then I'm gonna hit the duplicate. And then I'm gonna move it up to here. And then I'm gonna duplicate. And move this. Are you following with what I'm doing?
I am, boy, I had to go back in each box and make it a text, and it took me
Time.
good.
Well, shortcuts are good, so,
Yep,
and then what I want to do, done, or duplicate, and then.
so you're dragging the one that you copied.
Exactly,
Or-
I just created a duplicate to save me time. And what I'll
Right.
show you here in a second, let me move this. Because, well, when we go to another page, because there's a page that I want to change something on. And then, okay, so this did not show, I wonder what happened to that, logo, didn't I move it there if I remember correctly?
I had that happen a couple times too. I had to get out and get back
Stuff will
in.
disappear and then so I can see it's still there, it looks like it didn't move on. Yeah, it's still there. So I'm gonna go back to templates and footer tell.
Okay.
I said too much, my back was starting to hurt there. Okay, so I think you followed what I did, right?
Yep,
Does that look that much better? I don't know, it doesn't, it's up to you guys. Yeah, it's up to you how you want to do it. Another thought, again, you and Paul can think about this. What you could do is if this about us, like right now, you have, this is a text box, you see it says text editor. This is a
Yes.
text box, a text box, a text box. This is an image or a photo, and same thing over here. What you could think about doing, I'm not saying, it's style wise or whatever, but you could drop in a header here on each of these, and then you could make the header about us, and then get rid of the word there
Much.
in the text
much
box.
better.
And
Yep,
then what you could do is then line up these to be text top aligned, and then you could make the text boxes like center. Does it? I
Okay.
think I saw your hand go like this, so you were either saying safe or you understood what I meant, so.
no, it's the same height, yes. But you're talking about centering each one?
As opposed to that, that's great. Oh, could you do that with this column settings? And then equalize height, hit yes, and then you scroll vertical alignment center. And so now what's happened here is these columns are vertically aligned center. You can see that this moved down. I think you can see that, right? Did you see
Oh,
what
I
happened?
got it. Okay,
Let me hit cancel, and it may bounce back. Yeah, did you see what happened? So
yeah,
this is top aligned, this is top aligned. These are all top aligned. But if I
right,
go to the column settings and I go here and equalize heights, yes, I usually do equalize heights. And then I go to not top align, I go to center align. You can see what happened. Each of these columns are center aligned. Did you
okay.
follow that?
Yep, I did.
And then it's done. So the reason why I showed you that is you could do like about us in a heading. And then this would be the text box. You'd get rid of this word. And then
Yeah.
you would make a heading here. You just duplicate, just like I showed you a minute ago. You would
Yeah.
duplicate, drag, drop, duplicate, drag, drop. And then underneath this, you could do, Premier Partner and then put their logo. It looks like the Cambria is not showing up, so I don't know what happened there, because I thought the words were somewhere. Maybe the words are white. But then you've got
Oh,
a
they might
different.
be white.
So you've got a different issue. And well, what it is that the logo that we use is white with a transparent background. And so, yes, it's white and the background's transparent. So whatever color you made the background, it can't be white then unless the transparent background is different, if that makes sense.
Okay, yep, so I need to make the background a little bit different color.
For all either for this or only for this logo. Like you can see this logo, it has a gray background. It's not a transparent background because if it was transparent, like you can see this white is part of the image. This white is not transparent. That
Right.
white belongs with that image.
Right,
Whereas here, the white is gone because it's a transparent background. That's a little bit more complicated than what we need to get into, but if you have problem, you could try a different logo here or change the background, or I'll play with it if you and Paul decide you want to do something like that.
Okay, I can also see if I can get a background or a logo that is not transparent.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
then you try, and it could be white, not transparent, but a white background or something, so, but.
Okay,
So I'm gonna
okay.
leave this as is, because I think you know how to delete what you want to delete,
Yep,
but.
yep, leave it like that.
I'm
Now I
gonna
have a
move down.
question
Yeah, go ahead.
on, like about us. Now, I don't know how to do the links. So there's, like in the
Okay.
bottom, it has the about us, and that was going to link us to the
Yep.
about page.
Okay, and it's the same thing for any, let me go here, we wanna go back to footer, Kelly. So it's just, these are text boxes, if you'll recall. And so throughout any of the site, what you end up doing is you end up highlighting and then going, you might just be a right mouse click, we'll see if that shows up here, you may have to go. I would highlight. And then you see link right here,
Oh, yep,
and then you just type in whatever page you want it to link to.
now how
So,
do I figure out what that would be?
well,
So,
you could do it a couple different ways. I think if you start to, sometimes it shows up. Let me see, yeah. So these are the
Oh.
pages that are currently in the site. You can see it took a moment. So if you
Yeah.
start to type, it doesn't show up. It just slowed down for a second. But it showed up where the possible internal links are. So the
Okay,
contact us, obviously, there, and then it automatically links to the contact us page. And then, I think I just hit save. I don't think I need to do this again. Oh, you do need to hit, that little return. Did you see that?
Yep. Yep.
And so then that hyperlinked it. I can see
Okay.
the hyphen.
And
Did you
that will tell
follow?
them that that's something to click on. That was another
Well,
question that I had.
well, that's a great question. What you could do for style throughout the website is all of your links. This is, again, sometimes it's, preference, sometimes it's best practice. You used to use almost always links were blue. If you remember years ago, maybe a decade
Yep.
ago. Yeah, that's how you knew it was a hyperlink. And then another thing is that with a hyperlink, they were often underlined or underlined and blue. That's how you know it's a hyperlink. Now, it's not as, there's not necessarily a firm standard for what actually is a hyperlink. So if you underline this, it could look kind of ugly, I mean, because you'd have
Very much so.
underlines lots of places, all these underline, that doesn't look very good. If you have black fonts and you want to make your hyperlinks blue, that's okay, you may have a lot of them, does it look a little whatever, that's up to you, but you could end up, having all of your hyperlinks be blue if you're using a black or like a gray, dark gray font. So
Okay.
how do they know that it's a link? There's not a great answer to that, because underlines look ugly, and the blue at least, looks okay and acceptable, but some people won't notice it, or they're not as attuned to color, whatever, they color blind, those type of things. So
Definitely. Yep. Okay.
did that answer your question about hyperlinks?
I did. Yep.
Okay, so we're done. How about another question?
How do I add Facebook, Instagram, that?
Okay, so there's, again, more than one way to do anything, and certainly there's widgets that you would end up using. So let's just go as an example. Let's say you want to put, go back to that footer, because it might be the right
Be in the
place.
footer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to the Kelly footer Kelly. And what we're going to want to do is drop in a widget or a module. And so I can see here there's search. So I started to type in social media, so I can see Power Pack, and the other one, this Ultimate Add-ons, has different widgets or modules that are going to have these kind of built-in, ready to go. So I tend to lean towards Power Pack. The Ultimate Add-ons is great stuff too.
Okay.
You could play around with it and decide, but I'm going to go ahead with this one here. So let's go ahead and drop in, let's say, social icons, and where are we at here? Here's your footer. And let me just drop them in here. And So this may not be the right one that I want to use, the Power Pack social icon. Sometimes I often drop in, you can see them right away, and then you just end up customizing them. So I picked one of the options for the modules or widgets. This one may do it slightly differently, so I might just pick a different one, just like the icon. So you'll need, so this one here, you can customize some of this stuff, but there's Facebook, Google Plus, your LinkedIn. So these would be some of that, but let me go back. I'm gonna try a different module or widget.
Okay,
I'm gonna hit save just to leave it there for now. And go back to social. There are so many of these I haven't used, so this showed up as Facebook social share. So let's try a different one here again. So
gotcha.
and let me say to you, I'm testing this out using, or what I'm using is Beaver Builder to drop in your social media buttons. There
Okay.
are, and I know you, I think you entered, I know you've added plugins, right? Because you added the Filebird, right? Did you do that or did I do that?
You did that.
For organizing the media library?
Yep, you did that.
Okay. Well, I thought, anyway, so do you know, have you added plugins before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Second there, Kelly. Try one or two other things here, and then I'll show you another option, because again, there's more than one way to do anything. But let me just go here and drop in a few of these just to see what they look like. It's educational for me. So you can see this one here. When I went to the UAB, it dropped in three of these options: Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I'm almost positive that you could just add additional social shares. So if you were using here they are.
Instagram.
Instagram, is that on here?
Instagram isn't on there.
Right.
Huh?
Well, so we can certainly add it. So let me go back here. Let me just have to go do. So what you'd end up doing is, I think you'd end up, I added, the Pinterest here, but.
Yep.
I have Instagram. That's really strange, isn't it?
It's very strange. Instagram is a kind of a major thing.
So what I would say right now is that I probably would not use this modular widget since Instagram's not on there, and obviously want to get it. Then I'll show you how to do a plugin as opposed to a widget or a module. We'll just take a quick look for a plugin also.
Okay.
I'll show you that in a second. And what a plugin is additional software that can do almost, it can do different things, different plugins do different things. Like I have a security plugin. I've got two different backup plugins. The Beaver Builder, the stuff we use is a plugin. So there are many
Okay.
different plugins. There's actually tens of thousands of plugins. Like if you were doing tickets for an event or donations or payments, or, there's just, plugins for almost everything. A lot of junk, not good plugins. So you don't want to just add them. Well, you said Instagram, right?
Yep.
So I see this here. So there is this. Make sure to continue. So it looks like, and maybe you've done this before, that it looks like you'll end up, if you guys have, I don't recall going to your Instagram page or site, but it looks like you can plug stuff in, so your Instagram stuff would actually appear here if you wanted to do that.
So is there an Instagram
I know that's what you're looking for. Yep.
icon? Yeah.
Yep. And we may end up having to use a generic one and then customize it, but
Oh, Instagram right there.
Well, that's what I added, Instagram, right, this is what I added, Instagram feed. And then it goes here, the maximum image count and then standard resolution for it. So that's what this, it was a feed is what they were offering. And I know you want the link.
Right.
I don't know why that's difficult, but we'll
Hmm.
So this is a good time to show you real quickly how to actually add a plugin. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. So I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna go to my dashboard. And as you go down the left-hand side, Kelly, this is probably the first day we met. You know, this considered the dashboard. Across the top here are your shortcuts to your dashboard. Here are your
Yeah.
plugins. And let's just take a quick look at some of the plugins that are currently already installed on the site. So you can see here, as you scroll down, I can see I've got 19 active plugins. So this is additional software that I've added to the website. So some of these are, you know, you don't need to know what they do, but they do. Here's the enhanced media library. Then Firebird Lite is what helps you
That helps
organize
a lot.
yeah, and then, but I've tried to get this pro, but you know, whatever, but we'll worry about that later and stuff, but these are some additional plugins that we have here. So what I want to do is I want to add a plugin related to Instagram. So I'm going to go to add new plugin, and this will take us to a WordPress repository is what they call it. And as I mentioned to you, there are more than 100,000 plugins doing different things. You don't want to just use anything, but like this as an example has 5 million active installations. This is, you know, a very reputable, popular, you know, software that you can use to block spam on your blogs if you wanted people to comment on stuff. We're not doing that, but you know, these are some of the examples. But I'm gonna go ahead and just type in Instagram. Comes up here. And so I can see here that there are some of these different plugins that again have millions of installations. It quickly drops down. There's 5,000, 800,000. Now these came up, you see where I'm looking, let's check the active installation. There's a good indicator in the ratings of whether or not you want to consider using this type of plugin. But a lot of these plugins can not be the right thing to use for a variety of reasons. What I want to do is see what some of these plugins, although I typed in Instagram, doesn't necessarily mean that these are Instagram related. Some of them are, some of them are not. And so I can see here, like this has 5,000 installations. I don't know if this is really what I want to do. Continue.
Now, do they cost anything?
Some of them do. Some of them have. Some of them are straight out the back. You buy. Some of them are freemium where you get limited use of them, and sometimes that's all you need. But
Right.
some of them you use them their trial basis, or you get 5 out of 10 features, and if you want to use all 10 features, then you pay for them. But I would probably ask Kelly for now, if if you feel confident, go ahead and install them. But you sometimes can and I've had clients do this. The one client, they do these fantasy football pros. Well, he just went crazy. There's a couple of people doing the website, and they installed all these different themes and plugins. Well, then the problem is then they ran way at too much memory, and
Right.
there's no reason for the junk. Well, then when you start to remove stuff, these plugins and themes, you think you removed all 1 million files, but it actually left behind 50,000 files, and then they had all these ones, and it was just a problem. So
Yeah.
the reason why I
No.
say all that is that if you have an urge to install a plugin or need, shoot me a text or an email for now. If you do it, it's okay, but it's probably best you and I confer first if possible.
I
So,
100% agree.
okay. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and look at this here, this former Instagram feed. Let's go ahead and install it. It looks safe. It's got 1 million active installations. It's compatible. It's been recently updated. So it looks okay. I'm not sure if it's gonna be what we need it to do, and I can do more details to read about it. But let's go ahead and just take a look at it. I need to go ahead and activate it. And then what's gonna end up happening is, this actually lets you launch the wizard. So I'll let you play with this. And so I don't think there's something you can break with this. It's gonna ask you to connect your Instagram account. You may need to add your password, that type of stuff. So
Okay,
so let me show you, where did you get to that? Because I know it just disappeared.
Yep.
Where it is here. It does look like they have a free setup, and then they're gonna offer to upgrade you to Pro. Let me double check this.
so in order to get to it, I would go to the plugins. And
You would
then-
go, it looks like Instagram here. I'm gonna double check if I'm telling you the right thing. I'm looking for, it's Smash Balloon, so that's why I want to double check. Some of these will add a new, like Yoast, you can see, as we need to talk about later, next time we meet.
Yeah.
You know, the Yoast added its own section onto your dashboard, into your dashboard. And some of these other ones, like this is one of the security features, this bit drops it right in. Whereas other ones will drop into a menu here. And so I'm looking for like my Smash Balloon or something that would tell me about the Instagram stuff. So that's why I'm just double checking where that shows up, where it's at. And I can tell you where to go get that Smash. Maybe it, I don't know. And so, yeah, it is. So again, it's the first time I've used this, and you can
Yep.
see, I saw that it showed Instagram feed. Now, what they're gonna do is they're gonna be setting you up, and as you can see, it had the setup, and then you're eventually gonna have the option to go premium or pro. Probably for right now, I don't know that you need that. I'm not sure if you use it and what's all in there, but this is where we would start, so.
Okay.
So, and again, if that doesn't work for you, we'll fix this next week, but there's different ways
Okay.
to add the social media buttons, that type of stuff. I also, now that I say all that, I'm gonna go back to that Kelly, and then going back, so I'm gonna create a new footer, because there was one that dropped into some of these widgets right off the bat, and so I'm gonna create a new footer. And it is a layout, and I'm gonna go with footer. Excuse me. Then I add the theme or layout. And so what I did before you and I probably started, I went ahead and downloaded a few add-ons, footers and examples to just kind of see or to play with, or in case you wanted to change some stuff, whatever. And what I was looking
Okay.
for here is Instagram. Is that what that picture is?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you able to see this down here? It's
Yes.
Facebook, Twitter, and is this Instagram? Is that what that
That's
logo is?
Instagram. Yep.
Okay. So what I can do, let me just. And again, this is way more fancy. So what I want to do is I'm going to drop this in. I'm going to make a whole new row. So because I found the thing, I might as well just use this. the smash balloon you could do, but we're getting into all types of extra stuff. So I found, I had downloaded earlier a sample footer that we could have used. And as you can see here, if I go to templates, there are other footers. They're very small. Can you see these okay, Kelly?
Yep,
Okay, so we didn't use these. I think I used this one and then we customized it.
Right.
And, but I can see here because I know these ones I've used with different examples before, is I thought I remember seeing those social icons. And I don't know why they weren't showing up in those other modules or widgets, but that wasn't making sense. And as I was about to transition and you were about to do smash balloon and all that type of stuff, I remembered seeing these social media icons. So they're there. So what I want to do is I'm gonna shrink this back down. Because I need to get to this later. Again, this is, Kelly will never do this, but I
Right.
need to do it now so I can get it. I'm gonna
Yep.
create, I'm gonna do file, I'm clicking here, and then I want to make this global so I can go get this one module later. It's an icon
Okay.
group setting. And so
Okay.
I believe what I can do is do save as. And so all I'm doing is saving that one module. So Kelly, social media. You want to make it global because I want to be able to go get it on any page and anywhere in this site. So
Okay.
again, you'll never do this, but I needed to do it so I could.
Well, it makes life easier if you know how to do it.
Well, yes, and then so what I did now, you can see is I've kind of messed up this site because what I did was I added this whole other row, this whole other footer onto your foot, onto this footer here. But I'm gonna go back to templates, go to Kelly footer. No, I needed the white back.
Yes.
Oh, it's this one. This one.
Yep.
Okay, so now what I should be able to do, because it's in the global setting, is I should be able to go get that with the widget. So let me double check where I saved it here. Oh,
Is it at the,
there it is. Do you see
Kelly?
it?
Yep. Yep.
Wow, I can't believe it worked, Kelly. And I'm just gonna drop this in right here for right now. And now I can see here, if I go to the icon group, and it should open up where I should be able to then mess with the thing, edit the icon. And this is where you do your hyperlink, www, Instagram, Kelly's page, or whatever you call it. And you would
Okay.
just drop it in right here. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, I can't believe that worked. And then I'm gonna hit done and publish.
You're
And
gonna
then
sleep
when
good tonight.
I guess, I don't know, they at least feel better. I didn't totally make mistakes here, but I'm gonna uninstall that plugin because we really don't need that.
Right.
And so install plugins. Smash balloon. Deactivate. Ready for your next question. I'm gonna delete it. I'm ready for your next question, Kelly. I did want to show you something on
Yeah.
a page, but I want to see if you have another question.
I do have other questions, but if you want to go, yours is more important. Mine is just adding the date and the other information on the bottom of that footer.
Okay.
You like
you're
how it just
saying
said copyright, all of that.
Yeah, and I don't mind showing you that, and I can do that here in a second.
But there's
It's,
other things that are more important too. So,
Okay, well, and I would say that the copyright and the date are probably not important at all. And
Okay.
a vast majority of websites don't have that for many different reasons, mostly because it's useless. The copyright, you technically already have the copyright as soon as you publish the stuff. The issue is who's gonna enforce it? Like if someone used it,
Right.
good luck hiring an attorney and, many thousands of dollars for what, So, but you already, just like as soon as you post it on your site, you own it, you could prove it, but whether or not you'd ever enforce it, that's very, very questionable. So why is it there? That's up to you, but just so that you know how to quickly do it, I go back to your footer, Kelly. And then that's basically, it's a module or a widget that you can end up dropping in. And so I'm on this footer Kelly. I go
Yep.
down here and then under standard, I believe it's under standard for Meta. Give me a second. Oh, yeah, I'll figure it out. I don't know the answer. I thought
You're
under the,
good.
thought under the meta stuff that it would have dragged in the, that, but, I'll plead
Totally
ignorance.
fine.
I'll plead ignorance right now. And I won't even waste my time on it until you and Paul talk about it. It's useless information on your website. If you want it, no problem. It's gotta be quick and easy to do it. It's a matter of probably copy and paste some text from someone.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, do what you were, I just have a couple more.
I wanted to go to one page, but I didn't.
Yes.
You can decide whether you agree or not, but I wanted to just, so this was an example. You've got your photo on the left, text on the right, photo on the left, text on the right. I can see you change the width a little bit here, that type of stuff. Did you do this? Do you have thoughts on this? And I do
Oh,
see a
actually,
switch system.
what I was gonna do is, if you go scroll up, I'm actually going to make it probably, I'm thinking anyways, make it look like this. See, it's the exact same picture. I was just seeing if it looked better, larger and then smaller and then, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yep, and so I do know what you're saying. So I do think playing with this would be the right thing to do, to clean this up a little bit. And so,
Yeah.
because I it looked a little bit, put together maybe hastily or whatever word, without kind of fine tuning stuff. And here's an example here, like kitchen remodeling, you've got it, and it goes into 2 lines. That's
Yes.
not bad. It's not bad, but maybe you might want to think about going small, like here, it's one, so that's, but, and then here, I think
Okay.
down here, it got into two lines. It's not that it's
Okay.
wrong or it's like that, but you might want to just try to be a little more consistent.
No, and I really appreciate that. Do I want to use those as headers? Like
Yeah,
right
there's
now, I
not a
just
right,
have them as text box.
there's not a right wrong on that. It'll take you an extra couple seconds to add a heading in each one of these. It's okay to do that. It'll show slightly differently. And again, on people's phones, all of these will show differently also. So you could do your best to make this show on one line, and then somebody looks on their phone and it automatically spills onto 2 lines because it's
Right.
three words. So, you can clean it up a little bit, whether you make it a heading and then a text box, that's okay to do. There's not a right or wrong. What you could also do, and again, I'm not saying you want to do this, as I showed you before, this goes back to one of our first times we met, was using a call out. And you could do the call
Okay.
out to have the photo appear on the left side. And so heading, let's just do it.
This helps me because I didn't have a time to go through all of the photos or the videos again.
I sure understand that. Yep. And then
I went
thought
through
that
some.
you did, yeah, and I could see you're starting to go through that. There were places that I saw you were missing photos that I just figured you haven't decided, which one or what you want to do on that. So,
Yep.
here,
So again, we're doing what at this moment?
what I'm just showing you is that what you chose to do was to go with 2
Oh,
columns.
and the
And
call
one was
out.
a text box and an image. And so what I was doing was, and then you said, well, could I use a heading and a text box? And the answer is yes. And then what I also was going to show you is that you could also possibly use, left the text. Could also use a call out. And so let me go back here. So this is a call, the wrench, you see it's a call out setting.
Yeah,
And what this does, it keeps, you'll remember this from months ago. Is
this
it
is
keeps
much better already.
all three things together. So this is the one you created. It's a photo. It's a text editor box here. And what I did on this one is a call out, and the call out has the image together with the heading. You see this here, heading? Are you able
Yeah,
to see that?
yeah,
And then the text, I dropped it in here, then hit save. Now, the difference is when I move this around, I've moved all, it's all the way to the top. What I've got here is I've got a call out, and it's got all three things in it. It's got the image, the heading, and the text. And I can drag it around and it will always appear this way. So if I put it
okay,
into this column, you see now this doesn't look very good because it's in a column that's so small. You see
right,
what it did? It's got the image to the left, it's got the heading, it's got the text, but that doesn't look too good. But if I put it in its own column, then it looks okay. And
okay,
then, whereas what, again, there's not a right or wrong way, but what you did and you're playing around with is you've got, this text or this image here, and you're playing around with that. Now, I'm gonna show you one more thing and then I'm gonna answer your other questions because go ahead.
no, perfect,
Okay.
keep going,
So what I want to show you is what you might want to think about doing, because you're spending time doing each one of these individually, and this goes back some time, Kelly, but you've got dozens and dozens of templates that are already here for you to just drop in and then edit them. And so here's a content page, and as you scroll down, some of these may look, not all, look the way that you want. A lot of these do not. These kinds of pages, or we can download. And there's more. So these are not the best things I can show you here.
okay,
But all of these, as you might remember, let me go to landing pages. Do something. I don't see one that I wanted to show you. But what you could easily do then is just drop this in, and then it would say, do you want to append it? Or do you want to replace it? Well, you absolutely want to append. You don't want to
right,
replace, because then you'd be screwed. You gotta, oh my
okay,
gosh, what did I do? And then we would have to do a backup to restore whatever the case may be. But so what I wanted to show you, Kelly, now, well, I am going to take time to show you because I think it'll help you for later another time.
I appreciate that.
Put in there, so you obviously want to possibly replay with a glass of wine as usual. Underneath your dashboard, a bottle of wine, it may not be a glass. But your dashboard, you've got different tools. Other templates, then there's another place I want to show you, because you've got access to, like I said, dozens and dozens of additional. All right, Kelly, this gets into the learning mode sometimes.
You're good,
Okay, well, so let me show you one thing where I was at that I didn't know worked okay. So let me go back to starter templates. Starter templates. So, what, here there are different, we should be able to, this gets into full websites that then you end up customizing some of these, and that's not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is get to my templates that are just page templates. And then, so, Kelly, I did probably figure out, again, there's different ways to get to
Yep.
different places and that type of stuff, but some of the software that we use provides the option to add additional templates and things that are pre-built. And I showed you the starter templates that allows you to quickly build a website, basically, and then kind of customize it and add stuff from there. This other one is one of the software I use has it where that you can add, like, here's headers and footer, and you can download the templates to then customize them there. But let me go to templates and show you what I'm talking about.
Interesting.
So, yeah, you saw some of these. So what I could end up doing is activate these, and I think I did one of these on your particular site. You can change different ones and it would download the page itself. And then you just activate the page. Here are row templates. Again, these are header templates. There's actually 14 different templates. So if I installed this or activated, these are already there, then you would have
Makes life a
14.
lot more easier, doesn't it?
It does, and then you just end up customizing them. Now, what I wanted to show you, because this gets into the page layout. Let me go back to, let's just create a new page. So I'm not missing anything. Did I just create a page or did I create a post? Let's see. Yeah, I created a post.
Oh, yep. I thought you were creating a page.
I thought I was too, but I think what happened is I clicked it, it started to create it, and then it was too late, so they did not go back. So let me go back, because I do want to create a page, so I'll go back to here. Probably could have gone differently. Yeah, this is where I want to get to, so. um, So I downloaded some of these as you saw earlier, and I thought one or two of these may be a little bit easier than for you to.
Okay, that's exactly what,
This is kind of a little bit, it's not ideal. There's probably other templates that I'm not finding right now. But what you could do or could have done is you could go back to your services page and then install this template and then append this template and then just, drag and drop and use these different things. I probably wasted 10 minutes of your time here, Kelly, because
no,
for
actually,
later's sake, you at least know there are templates, then you can just kind of customize how they look. And the
but does that
spacing.
look, that looks a little bit more put together than what I'm doing. Cause mine is all just hodgepodge. I'm trying to learn and putting text boxes here and, so which one, what was the name of that one?
Okay, so what you might want to do is if you go to your services page, that's the one page I think we were
Yep.
looking at. So I would go to here, scroll down to services.
Up on top,
Is it?
keep going up, yep, right, 2 doors down or
I
two,
got
yep.
it. It's a minute to open. And this is just one way to do it, but if you go to your templates, and then it was actually under content, but I just want to look here for a second. Some of these are really great templates if you start to create new pages, or again, if Kelly, if later, if you want to do some work for, for me on the side, this is where you would grab a page and then edit it. But let me go here back to the content pages. And then I scroll down to, it was called case study.
Case study, okay,
But again, there should be better ones. I'm sorry, I'm not finding them right now. I'll double check where they are, but that's the one, at least for now, that you can use, so. There. And it's saying, do I want to replace or append? I want to
a
append.
pen, okay,
And then put it at the bottom, if I remember correctly. It doesn't put it at the top, it puts it at the bottom.
okay,
Here,
yep,
it's all the way down here. But what I could do, well, you could either drag it to the top or start cutting and pasting or start dragging stuff around. There's not one best way when you do that. Now, this looks like it is a row. Let's double check that. Yeah, so what you might want to do, this is a row, so it broke it up for you. So
yep,
you could drag this up to the top. It might, it's not the quickest way, but sometimes it works okay. You've got a little bit of time here, a couple seconds.
and it will help with the,
The layout and stuff.
yep, the layout to be even and,
And the margins, the pay, all of that. So you can say, I did not take it all the way to the top. You can decide if you want to do that. I can see here you said or, so I guess you're in the process of
I'm
deciding.
gonna talk to Paul about that. That's what's so hard is some of this I've got, okay, I'm gonna see what he wants and,
Beauty is
so-
that you're learning how to be able to change stuff at any
Yeah.
time. So,
Yeah.
that's great. So you can see here what we did is we dropped in this row. So then what I would do if I were you, I would take this image and I would drop it into this, well, it's a call out. And this is what
Yeah.
I was telling you before. This is a call out versus image, blah, blah. So this
But-
you can't drag and drop it. You'll have.
but
to
the other ones weren't a call out. That's just the one you showed me. So the
Uh,
rest of
this
them are
is-
not.
This is one we dragged up from the bottom. This.
Right, no, like the kitchen remodeling, that is, so if you go down one more,
Okay.
one more picture,
But I see, yes, I see.
am I,
what you're saying.
if I'm,
You
am I
you are correct.
understanding?
You
Okay.
are correct. You are correct.
so then that should be able to put right. Nice.
As
Okay.
usual, you were correct, Kelly. You are
No,
correct.
no, no, I'm just,
Yeah, and then you would just go, so, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'll leave the call on, you can delete it later, then
Yep.
I'm gonna go here, and then I would go here. And, again, this is right now is a text editor, so you may wanna play with that, but I would just go ahead and drag and drop it up to here. Just for now.
no, will that mess up? Okay, and then
And
just, then I'll,
These are different
Um,
widgets. This is a cow, you can see this is a cow. So what you would do is you would, right now, this is a text editor in this column, so you can decide how you want to play this column. But you can
Okay.
see this is a column, and then I can see it centered, right? Do you see that?
Yep, yeah,
And so you can remove these or edit them, because this is a heading. And this is probably a better way to do it than a text box.
okay.
Probably.
That
So-
really helps me out tremendously, so,
And then you don't really need to watch the
Nope.
video. I would just go ahead and delete that.
yep. Okay. Awesome.
Oh. Remove these, remove this whole row. I'm gonna get rid of this row. I don't want to delete the whole row here. I want to delete the column that was dropped in there.
Right.
How about other questions on your list, Kelly, for another 5-10 minutes?
Let's see. On that services, oh, well, that's okay. On the
We're on the,
homepage,
we're on the services page. I can open it.
okay, on the services page, you see underneath home remodeling and services, there's that black line that goes across the full. I can't figure out how to get that off.
And so, give this an open.
And yes, there's different pictures, there's different things. I was trying to see, wanted to see what Paul liked. But I can't get that. You see what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah,
Right underneath home.
I do, and I'm gonna let you do it, because I think you can already see what you're supposed to be doing, right?
No, that line's fine. It's the one that's underneath home remodeling services. There's that
Oh, well,
um
same thing.
orange. Oh, no,
Okay.
last
I'll let you do it.
yeah, I totally
How about
know.
next question?
Yes, it was up on top before.
Yep.
So it wasn't with the orange line.
Not a
So then-
problem. So
Okay.
I'll let you take it.
On the home page,
Okay,
scroll down.
yeah, let me
Please.
open it real
I'm saying
fast.
please.
Yeah. So scroll down.
Okay, I cannot keep going right there. I cannot figure out how to get that creating beautiful kitchens, baths, and other living areas in your home. I cannot get it so it looks correct. I've tried the shift enter. I've tried. I've tried everything I could, and I could
Yeah.
not figure that out.
Well. A couple things. Number one,
What did I do?
no, I'm not saying you did anything. I'm trying to figure out what's actually going on, and this is my guess. I don't know if you copied and pasted it from somewhere else, because it's got this additional kind of text in here, but let me just double check something.
I might have.
Yeah, I've copied the words. And I don't know what this is. And now you wanted me to drop in a text editor box. But I really haven't used that. The answer is, Kelly, when you can't figure it out, start over.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is, Kelly, to be frank, and to try to troubleshoot. I don't know what it was causing it, but and then you could go larger if you want to go larger. So
Okay. Okay. And the sliders, I think I figured it out earlier, but the sliders, the ones you showed me before had the line and you just went zoop, 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 and they actually could do it. Now all I could figure out was how to do that.
Okay. And so
I
when you
don't
say
know
the
if I wasn't-
sliders, are you saying these are the sliders you're talking about?
Yeah, and you showed me before how you had like a little bar or whatever, and it went
Okay, oh, that's before and after. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, before and after.
Okay, which is totally different, because, okay, so I'm on the home page and I'm going to open the page. Because what you did is you got images and that's what you want is a different module or widget. Okay,
Okay,
you put an image and that's a module or a widget. And what you want is your before and after.
okay,
See this here?
yep.
Before and after slider. So let me scroll down.
And then just drop and drag.
And then yeah, you would put it, I'll put it here for now. And then
Now,
you can see this is open up here. So select photo.
yeah,
And then photo. Where'd it go? I don't know which one I picked.
I don't know where it went either.
Okay.
It's in there.
I did not hit save, so it's not showing up yet.
Oh,
And I'm gonna pick something I actually can tell that's a difference. So let's go.
there you go.
Let's go with you and hit save. Very nice photo, by the way.
Thanks.
And then, okay, so this was the before. You see, it says before.
Yep,
So you
Yeah.
can see I dropped in here. There is a widget or module that's called before and after slider. So here's
Okay.
the photo before. You scroll after, and you hit here, and then save. And so
there you go. And then people can easily see
you have to,
before and after.
you gotta publish it, in order, I don't know, you got it done, and then
Okay,
realizing that the effect won't work. Homepage or services?
what'd you say?
I forgot which page I was on. Was I on the home
Home.
page?
Yeah,
And so I messed up. So you can see it's not there.
yeah.
So,
But I figured I'll know how to do it.
okay, so I won't bother with it then.
Yep.
How about another question?
About us, for some reason, I cannot get the top picture to be smaller.
Okay, I'll go there in a second. Are you planning on leaving these as sliders or what's your plan?
No, those are gonna be the thing you
Before
were
and
just
after.
showing me about.
Okay, that's.
And I might move those to a different page.
Okay,
What are your
Uh,
thoughts? I was thinking about either here or
I probably would only do like one before and after. I don't know how that'll look, having a bunch of them on the same page. I don't know the answer to that. And I
Okay.
would say on your home page, I think because you guys have some terrific looking work, which you've
Yeah.
highlighted here, I think
Maybe
that's good. You could go with
services.
the. Yeah, I think that probably would make more sense. You don't need to overload everything on the home page, but I think having some nice photos like you have here, what you could do here are smaller, like maybe 4 or 8, of some quick, here's a bathroom, fireplace, living space, bedroom,
Okay.
kitchen, and
Yeah.
they won't be as large, but people could see them quickly. And how
Okay.
would you set that up? You'd set up two rows with 4 columns.
Yeah.
And then drop in the images. That would be one
Okay.
way to do it. And you said
Okay.
the about us, you wanted the about us, where, I'm sorry, what was your comment?
I'm trying to make the picture smaller, the top picture, and for some reason I cannot do it.
On the
So
about page?
whether, yeah,
So let me go to the about page.
that picture right there, I cannot figure out what I'm doing wrong to make it smaller.
So it's not you, I'm sure it's the program.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what it is right now. I have all
What is
those
it?
that I know what it is.
Okay,
Those
what is
weren't
it?
coming up before. I have too many of
I don't, I don't
huh?
see I don't see spacers here.
Oh, you're right.
So I think what it is that we set it, the default. So let me go to row settings. And I
Okay,
think what we have it set at, you have it set at, it says minimum height, and the minimum height 0. Say full height, that you're showing the full thing. So I'm gonna. You have to change it from minimum height. Let's go to default.
Or shorter.
Cut it down a little bit. And then, so, again, as I shared with you before, sometimes it's great to troubleshoot. And other times I would just start over and just do something
Okay.
completely different. So I would go to rows, I would go new, I would drop it in right here if it will let me. Column. Background, the image, because right now it's full width, but I would look for an image. With photo, and then I would go and select photo.
You can just grab any. Right there, actually.
You said grab
Right.
any, so I'm,
Yeah, just grab any.
perfect. And that size looks okay, you see it's 920, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
hit select. Okay, so, and, now what I would end up doing is, taking this, this is a heading box, heading widget. And I'll drop it in there, and I would take this heading setting, I would drop it in right here. Photo, okay, this row.
I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me or no?
Yep, now I can.
Okay. And I can, okay, now you're smiling. That's good. I thought I totally lost that. No. So if it says internet connection is unstable, and that's probably my internet that's unstable, just like I am.
Oh, no, it could be mine.
So I
And then
can,
you would just delete that, right?
I'm gonna do it, if it's okay with you, that's what I was gonna do,
Yep.
so that's gone. That looks messed up, I want something bigger, so this is where you get into your choice. You could change the, width, the height here, by going minimum height and, that type of stuff, but what I would probably do is go ahead and add, as I showed you before, a separator. So this way you can kind of fine tune. Oh, it's messing me up a little bit here. I'm gonna go hit done. I'm gonna save it, and then I'm gonna go back to the page again. So I think it's the
Okay.
internet that's causing my problem there. I may have lost something there. So I'm gonna go back to here, go back to Builder.
I had to do that before too.
Yeah, and I think that'll happen. Whether it's the internet or the software, I can't say what's happening. So now I can
So
drop it out.
how
Pardon?
big do I want to make those pictures?
The picture, well, normally I would say, around 2,000 pixels wide. And you have to think about a screen, like I use a 24-inch screen. I think the pixels are, I forget the exact resolution, but most monitors, if you had 1,900 pixels, that it would show up properly. If you took a photo that was like 400 pixels, it's small, and then you put it as your background.
Right.
It's gonna get messed up, so.
But I mean, like how, for the About Us picture that's behind that, how wide do I want all of those pictures? So where it says products, services, when they click on those pictures or those tabs, how big do I want that first picture?
Okay, and so when you say this right here is a whole row, and so I would go roughly 1,900 for a row. If you're going a column, like for this looks like about a half a page, I would probably shoot for under 1,000. Because,
Okay.
it's more than 500 probably, on most people's screens, it's more than 500. So like this 800 by 600 would be okay, but width wise or height wise, roughly, this looks like it's about 800 wide. Looks like about the size of it, maybe 1,000. And then tall, it's probably about 1,000 also, a little bit more than that. So there's not an
Okay.
exact right answer, because again, it's going to display slightly different, but for the
Okay.
row, since it's a full row, you want it roughly 1,900, 2,000 or so. And then
Okay,
what I started to do here was to add a spacer. And so I'll add that and then add the height. So that's clearly not enough to duplicate. Side, now I would probably move one of these above. And put a bit of space there. And then you obviously need.
well, I'll
to-
be changing that picture anyways, I think,
Yeah,
actually,
and I'm gonna leave this here because I know you're gonna change the whole thing, but I think you see what I was doing was I was adding separators to add space, we'd make those transparent. And then
Okay.
sometimes that's a better way than making full height, minimum height, whatever. This allows you to kind of customize how much is actually shown.
okay, and then each spacer you'll make invisible, I got it,
And actually, I would just start with one, make it invisible, and then duplicate it. There's no reason
Okay.
to do that 4 times. I was just showing you, but because otherwise then you have to make each one, whatever. I think you understand. Start
Yes,
invisible and then duplicate.
okay. I
About
appreciate you
another-
showing me that, yep.
Another question?
How do I add testimonials?
Testimonials are a plugin or a widget, so you'd
Okay.
have to decide where you wanted to do that. So
It'd be on
let's
the bottom of this page,
Okay, so I would click on Builder. Now this page is opening. I go to wherever you want to do that. I go to my testimonial widgets. You see it here, you got 3 different options. And these will each display and add slightly differently. So you may say, I don't like that. I want to do something different, whatever the case may be. But let's just use the Power Pack one as an example.
Okay.
And I'm gonna drop it in,
keep going down if you don't mind,
okay.
just the very bottom is where it's gonna be. Underneath that,
So it looks like you're already starting to add the testimonials, but let me put that down here.
that's all good, right where you have it,
Where I put it? It's here. So you click on the wrench or the wrench. So you start, did I do this or you did it? I think you did one
no,
of
you
these.
can delete that,
Okay, but because you may want to decide, I'm not gonna delete it yet because you were asking how to do it. Each of
Right.
these are gonna look slightly different, so you may
Okay.
want to look at all 3 of them and decide
Okay.
which one you like best. There's not, it's just kind of tell you. So let me just click on the wrench. And now I can see here the item, so you add your testimonial here. So, and it says you can add media. And then this particular one, this is one you had picked, and then you can play with this. Now it's gonna take, there it comes again. If I go here, it looks slightly different, add a testimonial, so client name, Mark. You know, obviously, the full size, I don't need a photo that large for the testimonial.
we actually don't have any photos of people for the
Yeah,
testimonials,
and so you may not need those at all, but I made
Yeah.
it just to kind of show you, so.
yeah,
Oh, you asked, how do you add testimonials? I added 2 different widgets.
okay,
And so these are the 2 widgets. This one here is, one with Power Pack, one with UAB. You click on the wrench to change it. And then the layout looks slightly different. Whether, you can change these, the bullets or
now the
arrows
one
or-
that keeps circling, if they were to click on one, then it would stop and they'd be able to read it, correct?
You can probably set the timer on that. So let me go
Because
back.
that's pretty fast for them to,
Yeah, I would agree. So for sure there'd be a timer setting. So let me hit here. You can see slider. And then the delay, you set the delay for, 10 seconds. And you may have, it could display more than one at a time.
Right.
So it doesn't have to display just one.
I can't hear you again.
Hello, hello, hello.
There you go.
Okay. And, all right, Kelly, let me go back here. Want to get out of it. Let's, oh, I think you saw you can set the slider to change, but now it's on a 9-second as opposed to going quickly.
Yep.
You can style this, obviously, with the font being different colors, if you want to change the font style and those type of things. Here are the dots. I don't know that you want the dots to show. You may or may not want these dots to show.
Well, there'll be quite a few dots underneath there. If
Yeah, and so I don't know whether the dots, I probably would not show the dots because you'd have a lot of
Okay.
dots. And so
right.
they don't
Okay.
really serve, they don't serve a purpose.
Okay.
Anything else for today, Kelly?
Actually, no, I just wanted to say, anything that you see needs to be changed or whatever, you're the expert. I just really appreciate working with you and by all means, you're the one who knows. So if something looks, nope, that needs to be changed, please,
You're good for my ego, Kelly, so I appreciate that. I can feel better today about myself. So, but you're doing a great job. You're learning a lot. And the good thing, again, we've got upload it so you can always play it again. It'll be a little boring, but at least you can play it back and remember what we were talking about. But you're doing a fabulous job and you're learning far more. Again, if you want it at some point, you just want me to do it, we can sit there and knock everything out. It seems like you're doing a lot of it yourself, which is great. Like I said,
okay.
later, if you're interested, I'll hire you. But it looks like you're doing a great job, Tom.
I appreciate that. It's a lot of work, but I'm learning and it's getting there.
And you're getting better at each time. Obviously, you learn a lot each time. I'll work on this header a little bit about the shrinkage. And
Perfect.
then I think stuff you're working on. You want to connect next week, let me know and we'll schedule a time.
Yeah, I definitely want to connect to next week. So whatever works for you will be good. And I'm going to try to meet with Paul either Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
So let's shoot for Thursday or Friday of next week if that's okay.
That'd be great. How
Okay.
about Thursday? Because the following week I have off. So
good to have time off. I normally try to wrap stuff up because I'm glad you mentioned about because by the end of the year. So and then I go into the next year with clients that I see. So
I'm going to try my hardest to get this done. So maybe even Wednesday. Actually, Wednesday or Thursday. Can you meet Wednesday?
After you talk to Paul, you can let me know what's best and we'll coordinate something. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and then if you have questions, just keep track of stuff and we'll knock them off together.
Sounds wonderful. Thanks,
Okay,
Mark. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna end this and then I'll upload it later on today, Kelly. So
perfect.
Wish you well and talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.